Radio Network. I am your host, Jimmy Church. Welcome. Woo! Coming off a crazy night last night. It was pretty nuts, wasn't it? Special thanks to Richard Dolan, Steve Murillo, the crew, everybody here at Jimmy Church Radio, Keith over at Dark Matter. It was a lot of work. It was a 20-hour day, and then you have to cap it off with a 3-hour show at the end. But we made it through, and that was it was a lot of fun. So thank you, and keep the comments coming, good and bad. You know how I start off every show. Started off with a salute to the proud men and women in uniform all around the world. Without them, there is no me, there is no you, there is no us, and you can't hear me right now. You just think about that. My father spent 33 years in the Army. There's reasons why I start off every show that way. Happy birthday to one of my idols and yours, Tony Iommi. That's right. Guitar player for Black Sabbath is 66 years old. I have a few idols, just a few, 2, maybe 3. We all do. That you grow up looking at. And he was one of mine. And this weird life that I have led. Everybody, you have a path that you follow, and it just takes you right and left and straight. But mine, as I grew up, came out here to California doing that thing. Of all the people that I would have ever wanted to meet or hang out or work with was that man right there, Tony Iommi. And I did. There's some pictures over at my Facebook page. If you want to go over there, check it out. Me and the man himself. But that was an epic moment. Anyway, 66 years old, Tony Iommi. Also today, now I go to a website, celebritybirthdays.com or whatever, every single day for the birthdays for the show. And today, I'm over there, and right there, the first pick amongst all the celebrities. Guess who was there? Doug Aldrich. Doug Aldrich. His mug was right there. I couldn't believe it. He's 50 years old today. Happy birthday, Doug. Our dead guy birthday today is Nicholas Copernicus. Born in 1473. Getting it done. What is that, 600 years ago? 550? He really did get it done, too. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. Everything is Fade to Black. Jimmy Church Radio, J Church Radio, Jimmy Church, KJCR, something. You know what to do. Go click, like, subscribe, follow, friend, whatever. Follow the show. Tonight we're going to have open lines all night. And coming off a show like we did last night, how do you follow up something like that, Richard Dolan? Well, we're going to do that tonight with Ann Druffel. Ann Druffel, truly one of the great original UFO ufologists, researchers that there has been. Much respect for Ann Druffel. And putting this together with her tonight, and I really appreciate it. We'll talk to Ann in a minute, but that's right. That's how you follow up a show like last night. Ann Druffel tonight. I just can't believe it. I'm just going to say it right now for everybody. I'm a little nervous. Ann Druffel. You can email me throughout the show, Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. I got some pictures today that were just posted up on the website over on the forum. And the gentleman that took those pics will be on the show tonight at about 9:15. If you can hear my voice right now, go over to jimmychurchradio.com, go over to the forums page, scroll down to the UFO landing pad. The first set of pics on the top, there's 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One is the original pic. And the other 3 pics are analysis of the said photograph. It's nice and clear. You can go check it out. You can draw your own conclusions, but there is something flying a disc in that picture, and it is extraordinary. And I will have the gentleman that took those pics on the show later on tonight. I met him last night, actually, and he came up and, Jimmy, you've got to see this. You've got to post it. You've just got it. And I looked. He had his iPad with him. I was like, those are crazy. That's the real deal. So I got the pics today. We posted them up on the website over on the forums at the UFO landing pad. You can go there right now and look at them. And we will have him on 9:15 tonight. Okay, as always, the show replays, by the way. So, if you're not going to hang out till wherever you are around the world right now listening, 9:15 on the West Coast is not that big of a deal. But East Coast, England, Australia, whatever, it can be a little wacky. But the show always replays. And also, we always have the shows up on YouTube. And if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, you should. I believe, well, you know what? I don't even know what we call that particular YouTube channel. I don't know if it's Jimmy Church Radio, if it's KJCR Fade to Black. It might be just Fade to Black. And so you can certainly just go to jimmychurchradio.com and click on the YouTube link and subscribe from there. But as we post, you'll be updated once you're subscribed, and you'll always have it. We get here at the station email all day long, literally, about podcasting. And we have been auditioning and looking at so many different podcast companies, and we just haven't made the decision yet. We are going to podcast. We have to. Or an audio podcast, not a video podcast. Takes up too much disk space. But we are going to have an audio podcast. So just relax. I know it's important to everybody. It is. But in the meantime, we've got YouTube, and it's there. So please go and subscribe to YouTube. Okay, what else? Last week I mentioned Daniel Keplinger, King Gimp. Now, Daniel Keplinger, a.k.a. King Gimp, is an artist and lives on the East Coast. And I will talk about this if I have time at the end of the show tonight. But Daniel Keplinger is the subject of an Academy Award-winning, literally, an Academy Award-winning documentary called King Gimp. And if you have the chance, you can go and do a quick search on King Gimp, and you will see who Daniel Keplinger is. And over the years, he's affected my life greatly, and I will talk about that at the end of the show tonight. But I got email this week. Who is Daniel? You mentioned it, and then you didn't follow. Well, the show ran late, and I think that was the Robert Schoch show, and it just ran late, and I didn't get around to it. It just goes to show that everybody's listening, and I appreciate that, and you guys are taking notes, and I love it. But Daniel Keplinger is somebody that has affected me greatly. And I'll just say this. What have you done with your life lately? And the answer is nothing. And I don't say that in jest, because when you go and check out Daniel Keplinger and what he has done with his life, with his circumstances, it's an eye-opener. And it will make you really reflect on yourself. It's a guarantee. He is probably the greatest artist, fine artist, painter of our generation. He is great. He is beyond great. Now go check out King Gimp and see how he gets it done every day. All right. More on Daniel Keplinger later. King Gimp. Just an amazing story. Okay, over at artbell.com. A couple of different things really quick. There's been a lot of email coming in about hoaxes. And I know I do a lot on it because how can I say this? When I hear certain individuals promote themselves and go after things and string somebody along with an obvious, well, no, what isn't obvious at the time, but turns out to be just one string of lies right in a row, and pull down not only some of my friends but people that I look up to as well. It is something that I just gets under my skin. And of late, I've gone back and checked out a few things. Like for instance, David Lewis Anderson. The time travel doctor, Air Force expert guy. And I go and I listen to stuff like that and listen to how he, on all fronts, just purported this myth, this thing that just wasn't true at all. It just gets under my skin. And so I'm a little outspoken about it because I think everybody should be made aware. And if you listen to stories like this and you haven't dug into them at all and you're thinking that this fantastic story is actually true and it may be life-changing for you, you need to be straightened out. And I will always do that. That is what this show, it's about the truth. And that's why I do it. I appreciate all of the email and the support. Jimmy, keep it up. Keep it up. Here's another one. Here's another one. But that's why I do it. It just gets under my skin. All right. Shoot me an email to jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. Follow us on Twitter @JChurchRadio. Shoot me an email tonight, jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. We will have open lines. And if you would like to talk to the woman herself, I'll have her on for the next couple hours. We're going to take a quick break right now. And when I come back, we'll have Ann Druffel here. All right? KJCR, Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church, on the Dark Matter Radio Network. Don't touch that mouse. Listen to Little Doug Aldrich and just sing happy birthday. I'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to Jimmy Church, Fade to Black, on the Dark Matter Radio Network.
What's up, revolutionaries? It's me, Jimmy Church. Do you have an IRS or state tax issue? Well, I did, and I called national tax experts. My problems were fixed, done, fini, and man, I got to tell you, it was a relief. National Tax Experts are a recognized tax office that services clients in all 50 states. It doesn't matter where you live. Give them a call. I'm telling you, they take the time to understand each and every client's individual financial status as well as their financial goals. And that's exactly what you need, my brother, when you're taking on the evil three-letter. So, seriously, give them a call today at 1-877-909-5444. Again, 1-877-909-5444, or go check out their website, www.nattaxexperts.com. That's NATTAXEXPERTS.com. Tell them Jimmy sent you.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com
On the Dark Matter Radio Network.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Everybody listening around the world, thank you. KJCR on the Dark Matter Radio Network. I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Got a good show tonight. Let's just get straight to it. Ann Druffel has researched various aspects of the UFO question and investigated reports of all kinds since 1957. She's one of the first investigators for NICAP, remaining with that organization from April 1957 until 1973. She has authored 6 books, numerous articles for newsstand magazines on UFOs and other Earth mysteries, and has contributed 190 plus articles and columns for top UFO journals in the field. One of her recent books, Firestorm, the Dr. James E. McDonald's Fight for UFO Justice, reintroduced the phenomenal UFO research and amazing results of the prestigious atmospheric physicist James E. McDonald. Her other works include How to Defend Yourself Against Alien Abduction, The Tahunga Canyon Contacts, and The Psychic and the Detective. I would like to welcome to the program right now the one, the only, Ann Druffel. Ann, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Jimmy.
No, Ann, thank you. And I'm a little nervous, so just, let's take it easy on me.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Ann, you're a little low, like we were talking earlier. Just speak up a little bit, and we should be just fine with you. Okay.
Well, my voice is just like this. Is that loud enough?
And it's going to be just fine. Okay. Now,
I don't yell at people unless they, pass me on the freeway at 90 miles an hour.
I love it. And, this is, I have such, we all do. We have such respect for you and the amount of work and your diligence and everything that you have done. So before we proceed, I just want to thank you for all of your work over these years. We all appreciate it. And last night, at the show that we had done last night, I was talking to numerous people, and they were asking me about who's going to be on the show this week. And when I said Ann Druffel is going to be on tomorrow night, the reaction from is Jimmy, how do you do these? How do you get, and it's the reaction that I got from everybody last night, Ann, was just incredible. And the amount of respect that you have out there, you've earned all of it, but I'm just letting you know we really, really appreciate it. And there's a lot of people right now listening, very excited. And again, thank you for finding the time to come on the show. And I would like to get started. So, are you ready?
Well, I wanted to tell you that Dr. McDonald's book is Firestorm, Dr. James E. McDonald's Fight for UFO Science instead of Justice.
Oh, did I say justice?
Yeah.
It should,
Of justice, too. But he used the word science.
Yeah, it's called excitement. And I'm looking here on the screen, and it says science in big capital letters. Justice came out of my mouth, and you know what? That is called, it's there. I said it for a reason, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I do.
That's the subconscious.
Man, and he gave us the information that he could search out as a scientist, and only that. And that's as far as he went. He didn't go into hypotheses, into speculation, nothing like that, like some people are doing now. Right.
Okay, now, really quick, I believe I just got, okay, let's see here. Yeah, you're just a little low. I will crank you up as much as I can. I'm talking about your volume. Just try to stay conscious of that. I'm not going to say it anymore. The producers here are just going to have to deal with it, and the network, because it doesn't matter to me. I have you here now. Now, over at jimmychurchradio.com, we're going to talk about 3 or 4 different subjects tonight, and I would like to talk about the Rex Heflin photographs, and we'll get to that in a second. Obviously, James McDonald. And if we have enough time, I would like to try to get into the Tahunga case, if that's okay.
Okay. And how to defend yourself against alien abduction?
Yeah. Oh, well, I left that one. See, there's so much, Anne.
Yes. Yes,
So
there are 4 books.
yeah,
Yes.
exactly. So
Okay. I
let's.
understand. It's a lot.
It is,
2 hours,
but
yes.
it's either we'll talk about less of the other stuff, and we'll get a more stuff in, or we'll talk a lot about very little. We'll see what we can do.
We'll talk about what you want to talk about and what your audience wants to hear.
And
do your audience send questions in?
Absolutely, they will. And
Questions.
just so you know, it's your show. It's not my show. I'm just here to toe the line. And over at jimmychurchradio.com, I'm checking now. We should have your gallery up for Rex Heflin, and I am checking to make sure that it is here. And okay, we don't have it up yet. The producers are still working on it. But what we are going to do is we're going to have Rex Heflin's 4 photographs. Well, we're going to have 6 up. We're going to put up 6. And for everybody listening, Ann and I were talking earlier today, and I said, "Yeah, Ann, okay, I've got the Rex Heflin 6 photographs. Jimmy, there's 4. No, Ann, Jimmy, there's 4. There's 6. No, Jimmy, there's 4. It just." and just stop me in my tracks, Jimmy. There are 4.
Well, I figured out that there are 6 because 2 of them are ones that have been enhanced recently by a very wonderful scientist who works in a university nearby me. I live in Pasadena here, California, and he discovered the answer to why one of the photos was not accepted by Dr. James C. McDonald. And so those other 2 that make 6 photos, I'm sure that's what you meant.
Yeah, and
the enhanced versions.
And the thing is with those photographs, and we're working on getting those up. It should be just in a few seconds, everybody, and I'll let you know when you can refresh your screens, and they'll be there. As always, they'll be on the homepage. When I was looking at the photographs today, and while we're waiting for the photographs to come up, we can actually, if you don't mind, we'll start talking about Rex and about who he was and so forth. But when I was looking at them today, trying to find high-quality versions of those pics is a very difficult thing. There are so many out there. They have been reproduced and reproduced and reproduced, and a lot of what you're looking at out there are reproductions of the reproductions. And whatever happened really quick? Whatever happened to the original negatives?
The original negatives apparently were taken by someone that we didn't know who they were, who it was at all. And Rex Heflin was just devastated as we were. And then all of a sudden, just maybe about 10 years ago, someone phoned him and he said, have you looked in your mailbox lately? And Rex said, okay, and he went and looked in his mailbox. There was nothing. Got the other call. It's from a woman. Have you looked in your mailbox lately? And he went out again. And here in a plain, a manila envelope were the 4 original photos that had been lost for so long. And he told Bob Wood about this. And Bob Wood said, well, would you go up to where Rex was living? He was living up north in California at that time, and get the photographs. And I did. And Rex gave me the ability to keep the photographs. They are in a locked box in my house and not available to anybody, you see, the 4 original photographs. So that's the reason why we have not given out the original photographs to the public is because of the scientist at the university in Southern California here is still studying questions about the photographs, trying to, find out that they are valid. They are considered the most valid UFO photographs ever taken.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, we have to prove, you see, that they are photographs of an unknown craft. You see, unknown craft.
Yeah,
my colleague is still working on that. And when he finally finishes what he calls his second paper, which will be published in a refereed scientifically, journal, then they will become available to the public.
Now, this is where I'm just going to ask you a very direct question. You have in your possession the most famous photographs ever taken. Does that ever make you nervous?
No, they're in a locked box.
Okay.
I live on what is called a ley line that is very tranquil, and nobody bothers us on this street.
Have you?
And they're completely, they're safe.
Okay,
They're safe.
I trust that they are.
But the thing is, they are not copyrighted, you see. Rex Heflin never wanted them to be copyrighted. He wanted everyone to have availability to them. But of course, we have the original ones. We still, the scientist is still working on the original ones. But the other copies, are available to anyone who wants to use them. They are not copyrighted because Heflin never said, don't copyright them. Let the public have them.
Do you ever take them out from time to time and just look and in amazement? And what is it like when you do hold them in your hands? I mean, I can't imagine, because I remember the first time I saw the photograph that he took from the windshield, picture number 1. When you look at that picture, you don't know what it is that you're seeing, because it's an unfamiliar type of craft in the air, but it's crystal clear, it's perfect, and it will make the hair stand up on your skin. What do you have that same feel? I mean, when you look at those photographs, the real thing, because what you see on the web, like I said, they're all reproductions, but you have the original photographs. What do they do to you when you look at them?
Well, you see, I'm a researcher, and I don't get amazed or anything like that, because I'm so used to handling them. And every once in a while, some special researcher will come and want to see them, and I will, meet with him in my home, and I will take the photographs out, and they're the ones that are amazed when they handle them.
When he took the pictures, okay. Well, I want to talk about Rex specifically. How is he as a person? And you're a researcher, so how does he come across to you?
Well, you see, Rex died several years ago, but he was always so friendly, just a wonderful, wonderful person that you knew was speaking the truth. There are people, that you don't trust entirely, and you have to search them out. Well, at first, when Rex Heflin took the photographs on August 3rd, 1965, we searched them out. I mean, we researched them thoroughly. We knew that Rex Heflin seemed to be a very valid, truthful man, but as the time went on, we were convinced that he was telling the truth. He was a wonderful man. Wonderful. He's a friend.
Had he, and when these pictures were taken, and it was so long ago, when they were taken, what was the environment in the country at the time? Was it was the talk about flying saucers? I mean, because that's what the picture is. It's a flying saucer.
It's an unidentified flying craft. Yes. At that time, the ideas of UFOs and especially the photographs had entered into the public consciousness. And when Rex took the 4 photographs, when he saw this thing fly over his truck, he was a highway maintenance engineer, and it flew over his truck. He took the 4 photographs, and he didn't know what they were. Someone knocking at the door, but there's nothing I can do about that. He took the 4 photographs, and he was just going to keep them because he didn't know what they were. He thought, well, this is something that the Marine base, that was several miles away, was working on, something that we had built.
Right.
And so he just kept them, but he showed them to some of his colleagues at his work. And then the colleagues and members of his family thought, these have to be photographed in. These have to be given out to the public, and so the family was the one.
And do you need to go get the door?
I do.
Go grab the door. No, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. The pictures were just posted, so Ann,
okay.
No,
just a moment.
Yeah, go grab the door, and
Who is it?
so and that's what happens when I turn off the phone line. You can hear the difference between my microphone. Anyway, everybody, the pictures are up at jimmychurchradio.com. And if you, they're on the homepage, and it says the Rex Heflin Gallery. There are 6 pictures here. 2 are enhanced, and 4 are the original photographs. And let me see if we've got Ann back with us. Ann, are you back with us? Okay.
Yes.
Okay,
no,
fantastic.
The gas man.
Oh, yeah.
Because, my neighbors are convinced they smell gas.
And well, we knew this was going to happen tonight, Ann, and
yes,
just to let everybody know, Ann had a gas leak at her house today, and she called me. She says, "Jimmy, I don't know what to do about your show tonight." I said, the show must go on. We'll figure out the gas leak, and so that's
my wonderful neighbor and the gas man have come into the house. And they will search it out.
Okay, so now, Ann, if you go to jimmychurchradio.com, I know you have it there, just refresh your page and scroll down to the bottom of the homepage, and you'll see the Rex Heflin Gallery up there now. And I have them in order, picture number 1, 2, 3, and then the 4th one obviously being the smoke ring, and then the 2 enhanced photographs or 2 enlargements. Okay, now the first thing that I would like to do, and again, I want to remind everybody as you're going over to jimmychurchradio.com and you look at these pictures, they are without a doubt the most famous photographs ever taken. And Ann is in possession of the originals, and there isn't anybody out there that knows more. It was funny today, Ann, Jimmy, there's 4 that knows more about these pictures than Ann Druffel. So what I would like to do,
they're not mine.
we understand that. Ann,
yes.
Let's talk about picture number 1.
Okay.
Now, as we look at this, picture number 1 is taken out of his windshield, and it's the first picture that he took. I'm not going to describe it. I want you to do it, but this was taken down in Orange County, so where the picture was taken, what time, what kind of camera, and just take us through picture number 1. Set us up.
This was a few minutes after 12 noon, and Rex Heflin was working on his highway maintenance job, and he had found a place where a tree was hiding a sign which directed traffic, and so he got up and to tell the he stopped his truck, and he to tell his colleagues at the base, come and trim the tree so that this highway sign will be available. And so he, as he stopped, he saw this craft go rather slowly in the front. He saw it first through his front windshield, and he had his camera, you see, which was a very unusual camera with high density film, just like nobody else at that time had, but highway maintenance engineers, you see. And he snatched up his camera, and he took a photograph, just in case. And then the thing moved over to toward the northeast, and he took another photograph through the side window of his truck. Then another one as it went further away into the northeast. Those were the three photographs we call the Heflin photographs. Then he saw a few seconds later a smoke ring appear in the sky where the craft had disappeared just before he took the third photograph. You see, it had gone off into the distance. It hadn't just disappeared. And he said, he thought, what a strange smoke ring. It was a smoke ring that was cohesive. It didn't seem to shift with the wind. It kept originally, basically its original shape, a smoke ring. And so he took his truck up the highway for about a mile and a half. It took about a minute for him,
Sure.
And he got out of his truck and took the fourth picture of the smoke ring. And luckily, it was high in the sky, but luckily it had some of the trees of a nearby orchard also in the photograph, so that we, that was basic to being able for us to figure out how high the smoke ring was at that time, basically how high. So those are the four photographs, you see.
Today, when you go around this area, and I have tried to, years ago, I've tried to find the original spot. Now it is completely developed. It doesn't look like this now. And if for everybody out there that has never been to California or Orange County, L.A. now pretty much is one big city from the valley all the way to San Diego now. It is just, it's completely constructed. But back then you had vast amounts of open space and farmland and orange groves and things, which is where this picture was taken. And, to think that this was taken over Orange County it's funny to me, because this is country, and down there now, where this picture was taken now, is 100% concrete and homes.
Yes, it is.
Now,
it is. Well, 65, that was a long time ago. 35. 47 years.
How did he distribute these pictures back then? How did he let the public know?
Yes, I was telling you when they knocked on the door. He kept the photographs. He didn't know what to do with them, but he did show them to his colleagues at work. Just out of curiosity, and it was the colleagues and members of his family who decided these have to be shown to the public, and some of his family took them to I believe it was a Santa Ana Register at that time. It was a prominent newspaper, and they wrote an article about the photographs with the four photos, and almost without even Rex Heflin's okay, because they were so excited. You see, his family, his colleagues were so excited about the photographs because they considered them to be UFOs. But at that time, Rex Heflin had no interest in UFOs. He knew nothing about the subject, and he thought, well, this is something that the military base, the Marine base south of Santa Ana, is developing.
Was he ever a guy that was looking for fame or notoriety, or was somebody that wanted to chase money?
No way. He never accepted any money for any use of the photographs. You see, he says that the photographs belong to the public. They belong to the public.
Okay,
but when we first learned about it in NICAP, you see, the NICAP subcommittee in Los Angeles, we learned about the Heflin photos. And we invited Heflin over and talked to him. And then after a few months, Heflin began to realize that perhaps what he had photographed was not something that was built on this earth, that very possibly it was what was called an unidentified flying object, you see, a UFO.
And take me through a few things. In photograph number 1, and I know that you have all of this information on the front of your brain. You've been researching this forever. Yes. How far away in the first photograph, photograph number 1, the one that's taken straight out of his windshield, how far away is the craft from his truck?
He estimated that it might be about 100 feet away. To the north, you see.
Okay.
But that and about 30 feet high.
Okay. Oh, so he's facing north. I thought he was facing south, only because I know Orange County. It feels south to me. So he's actually facing north. So Los Angeles is off in the distance in the first picture. I got you. Okay. Yes. So if the craft is 100 feet away, how many feet in diameter did he say that it was?
He estimated in his own mind, when he was a very, very intelligent man, very, very technical, that it might be about 30 feet across.
Which would,
and when it was studied by the NICAP groups and other groups, 6 scientific groups studied, right away. They estimated that was probably that it was about 30 feet across.
Now, the next picture, which is picture number 2, the 3 pictures in the top row of the gallery were taken in order. So, and again, I want to set this up for everybody. When you look at picture number 1, he's pulled his truck over to the side of the road. He's grabbed his camera. It was a Polaroid camera, I believe, right?
It was a Polaroid camera, but a very special one, you see. It was something that only people like highway maintenance engineers had. The public did not have cameras like that. With the ASA reading, it was a very, very high ASA reading, and it could take photographs unlike anything that any camera that we had at that time could do.
Which explains the extraordinary quality of these pictures, because...
Exactly.
Now, okay, so picture number 1, out of the windshield, craft is about 100 feet away. And his truck is facing north towards Los Angeles from Orange County. And in the next picture, it's out.
His truck, I believe, was facing the ocean to the east.
Okay.
But the object was traveling from south to north.
Okay.
And that's why he was able to take the first photograph through the front windshield. And then the second photographs and the third one through the right window of his truck.
So he snaps
the passenger window.
Right. He snaps the second picture, which is extraordinary on a few different fronts. You can see the side of his truck in the rear view mirror. Okay, that's one of the things that is great about the picture. But you can see the bottom of the craft. Now, what direction and what was the craft doing as he took these pictures number 2 and 3?
It was traveling just at a speed. It hadn't stopped or anything like that. just traveling from what was basically the south west toward the northeast.
And so and I'm picturing this, so he's spinning the camera from left, he's panning over to his right to get out of the right door. So the craft is moving from left to right in front of him, right?
That is the first photograph.
Yes, but I'm saying the craft is moving from his left to his right because the next set of photographs are taken out of the right-hand window.
Exactly.
Okay. Yes. And where did it go? So as he snaps off picture number 3, it looks like, I need to ask you these questions directly because you are the source. Everything else doesn't matter to me. You're the source. You're the one. When you get to picture 3, the craft, again, it has adjusted and has leveled out. Was it sitting still, or did he lose track of it? Why wasn't there a 4th or 5th picture?
My neighbor just given me a note about what the gas man said. Do you mind if I just take a second to read it? I'm sorry, a gas leak at the time and on the radio is not convenient.
And you can do whatever you want. And I will just say this, everybody. Let's stay on this gallery really quick. And we're talking about pictures 1, 2, and 3 with Rex Heflin. And these were taken in 1965. These are indeed the most famous photographs ever taken. And when Ann gets back on the phone, the one thing that I'm interested in all of this is, did Rex have any inkling? Did he have any knowledge that this was going to appear on the cover of nearly every single book and magazine that dealt with UFOs for the rest of his life, and our lives too as well? It's just an incredible situation for this to have occurred to him, and he was just a guy that worked for the highway here in California and didn't look. Now, I had read, and we all have about Rex, that he just didn't look for fame. And I've never met him. Ann has researched these photographs nearly exclusively.
Hello?
Yes,
we are.
That's okay.
They're shutting off my gas.
Okay. Okay, Ann.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So
it never happened before to me.
That's okay. So the thing is, for me, with these photographs, did Rex have any idea how these photographs? I mean, did he have any idea that this would change ufology and would literally be on the cover of every book and magazine that talked about UFOs like forever?
I'm sorry, my neighbor. They've shut off the gas in the house.
Okay, Ann, do you want to continue with the interview?
Well, I would like to, but the gas man is here.
Okay, well,
shut off my gas.
Okay, can he shut off your gas and you can continue with the interview?
Just a moment. I'm on the radio for 2 hours. Right now, is it? Will you be here long?
You've got to love live radio. Absolutely. I almost want to turn this up and listen to what the gas man is saying.
All right.
He has no idea who he's talking to or how important this is. And I'm going to roll some music. And I'm going to take a little break. You talk to your gas. You want me to take a break and you talk to your gas man?
No, he explained what he will be here only for a minute.
Okay.
But I can talk now.
Okay, thank you, Ann.
Sorry.
That's okay.
Never happened before to me.
I'm not going to say anything. It's okay. All right, let's continue on. So, as Rex, my question was, did he have any idea what these photographs were going to mean to ufology? Did he have any idea? Was he into ufology and UFO, or is this just something that landed into his lap and then would change the face of ufology forever?
it's something that landed into his lap. He had no interest in UFOs. He had never read anything about them, although he, recognized that there was something being done, by people in the country about flying saucers. But he had no interest and no knowledge.
Did he ever continue on to do interviews, or did he just stay out of the public light?
He stayed out of the public light except for maybe 1 or 2 interviews in the following, how many years? 30 years.
Right.
But he worked with NICAP investigators, you see. He worked first with Bob Wood, and Bob Wood had a group, and they studied the photographs, and they considered them very possibly valid. And then 5 other scientific groups studied the photographs, during the following months and a couple of years later, and they came to the same conclusions. All the scientific groups that studied them said they were most probably valid, but they couldn't say they are valid because, of course, that's hard to say. That's what we're working on now.
Right.
We're still working on them.
Now, didn't the legend and the urban legend behind these photographs? There are so many different stories. So let's clear up a few of them. There's a story out there about either Men in Black or somebody, official sources showed up at his house. Said they were going to borrow the photographs, I think, and took them. And then is that when they disappeared? And did that event really happen?
Yes, it did. You see, after it was published in the newspaper without his consent, of course, his family wanted them, out to the public, the information. He lent them to the 2 official government agencies to study them. Both of them returned them. And then one night, when he was listening to the music on his, I think it was his television, someone knocked at the door. He opened it. There was a man in black standing there, saying that he was from what was Heflin considered was possibly another official government agency, and the man showed him his credentials, but then he pulled them way back, real fast, so that Rex Heflin didn't have a chance to study his credentials, his badge. And so they asked if he asked if he could take the photographs like the Marines and the other official organization had done and return them. And Rex said, well, he wasn't sure because he noticed that parked at the curb of his house, there was a car, and there was a strange reddish, purplish light flickering in the back. And he could see the form of what seemed to be another man in the back of the car, related to this flickering light. And at the same time, very strange static came over on the music that he was listening to. And this had never happened before. And he just wondered what's going on. But something made him, to the day he died, he never understood why he gave them the original photographs to the man at the door.
Now,
and of course, we have a hypothesis about that.
And what's that hypothesis?
At that time, the CIA had developed a way of affecting minds, human minds, from afar with technology, you see. And this was never made public. I mean, what technology it was. But they could depress people. They could make them believe that what he was saying, what he was seeing was all right. It was very strange technology. It's described in my book Firestorm, Dr. James C. McDonald's Fight for UFO Science. And so he gave the photographs to this gentleman at the door.
I need you to remember to keep speaking into the phone. You're starting to drop off just a little bit.
I'm sorry.
There you go. See, there you.
Gas man is leaving. Could you just a moment? Oh, thank you. Thank you. He's all finished.
Okay,
yes.
So that means you're going to speak louder and into the phone. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
all
see,
right.
there you are. There you are. You were drifting away. Now we got you back, Ann. See, and I can't. I don't want to. It's like me telling my mom what to do. I just can't do that. So I'm just going to ask you, as nice as I can. Yes, speak as loud as you can into the phone. Okay, so
all right.
Now back to the photographs, and I want to talk specifically about photograph number 1. Because it has been said over the years, they kept comparing this to, and I just find this crazy, to a train, the wheel of a train. And now the wheel of a train must weigh, I have no idea, but several hundred, maybe 1,000 pounds. And I don't think Rex Heflin was out throwing one of these around in the air around his truck in 1965.
There have been people who have been trying to convince us that that's what they were.
Yeah, and so how did you face that? And what were some of the other? I know they thought it was a hat too as well. I find it all crazy when I look at the pictures. It's just obvious that something is flying around in the air. I don't know what it is, but these are great photographs of something flying around in the air. And
yes.
So what were some?
What it is either?
yeah, and what were some of the other things besides a train wheel, which is just a crazy thought? A manhole cover is heavy enough, but
yes.
But a train wheel. And what else did they say that these were?
There were other things like some of them. Some people tried to convince us that Rex Heflin had a fishing pole, and that at the end of the line of the fishing pole, he had put a little, an image. That he had made an image that looked like a UFO, and that he, that's what he photographed. And there were even some. There was one person. I'll call him a person, not a gentleman. No, he's a gentleman,
Okay.
I'll be kind. That produced a picture that he put widely on the web and, all over, showing a line, you see, to the UFO in the first picture.
Uh-huh.
In other words, he was on something on the end of a fishing line. And then we got our scientist at the University of to prove that had been is it called photo enhanced?
Uh-huh.
It's something that you can do on the computer now. You can make pictures appear. You can put things in pictures and make them appear as if they're in the originals.
Yeah,
but they're not in the originals.
Yeah,
There's no fishing line in the originals.
Of course. Now, and I want everybody to understand that there are no negatives of these pictures. They were only original photographs because it was taken with a Polaroid camera. Is that correct, Ann?
Exactly.
So
exactly. Yes.
So when all of the analysis is done on these photographs, you only have the originals, which are, of course, are in your possession, but there are no negatives to analyze. So all of the analysis were taken off of the original prints that are created in the inside of the Polaroid camera.
Yes.
And
yes.
And you know, for most if you're under the age of 20 today or 25, you probably have never heard of or seen a Polaroid camera. And it's kind of funny to think about it like that in those terms, because for us, anybody 30 years older, we know what a Polaroid camera is. We know what a negative it is. You know, we know what a real a print is. And so these were Polaroid pictures. Now, when he got in his car, after he takes photograph number 3, does he attempt to, and you started to talk about this earlier, so let's finish the story. Does he try to follow the craft? What does he do next after picture number 3 before he gets to picture 4? You told us how he took picture 4, but did he take off and try to follow it?
The first 3 pictures were taken from inside his truck because the thing went by so fast that it was just I don't know 20 seconds or something like that. That he took the first 3 pictures, and then as the craft or the thing disappeared into the northeast, he saw that this strange smoke ring in the sky, and he didn't see the craft blow off the smoke ring, but he thought how strange for that to happen too after that he had just seen this other thing. And so he got in his he got his truck onto the highway and drove about 1.5 miles up to where he could photograph the smoke ring as close as he could, you see. And that's it was about 1.5 minutes later that the 4th photograph was taken.
What did he do after that? And what did the craft do after that? When he took the picture of the smoke ring, was the craft now out of sight, and did he see where it went?
No, he just saw it disappear because it was moving fast into the northeast. That's all he knew. But the ring hung around, you see.
Right.
He thought that would be worth photographing too.
Now that you've had all of this time to continue research on these photographs, what are the conclusions that you have come to?
Well, you see, I've not done the technical and scientific investigation on the photographs. You see, this has been scientists in the UFO research field who have done this. But I have kept track of everything that has been done and written about what has been done.
But what's your gut feeling? You've been researching UFOs forever, and here are absolutely the most famous photographs ever taken. Ann, what is your gut feeling on these? Is it a genuine craft? Do you think it's from not of this earth? Do you think it's something that we built and maybe we were testing? There was there's an Air Force base, a Marine base right down the street. Could it have been tied to that? What are some of your conclusions?
The conclusion presently of the scientists who have worked on the photographs and myself also consider that it is very, very possibly a craft not of this earth, not from this earth, because of the way it flew and disappeared. And I was acquainted with Rex Heflin enough, and there were many other people in the Southern California area who were acquainted with him, and we all considered him extremely reliable man.
And he never
wanted to make any money off the photographs, never wanted to copyright them. He said they would belong to the public.
Okay,
I'm convinced it is what we call an unidentified flying object, which to me are very possibly extraterrestrials.
Okay, right there is a great place to take a break. Let's take 2 minutes. When we come back, let's continue with James McDonald. We are live with Ann Druffel on the Dark Matter Radio Network. You're listening to Fade to Black. If you need to talk to Ann, you can call us, 323-825-5045. Shoot us an email to jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. We are live with Ann Druffel. Ann, don't go anywhere. We'll be back in 2 minutes.
Okay, could you tell me how to get onto from either I'm on your Fade to Black, but I don't know how to find the photograph.
We'll be right back, and I'll tell you, Ann, okay?
Oh, good. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Way out here, we listen to Jimmy Church on the Dark Matter Radio Network.
Dark Matter.
Dark Matter. Dark Matter. Dark Matter. Dark Matter.
You're listening to Fade to Black on the Dark Matter Radio Network.
¿Qué tal, mis amigos? Yo soy Mario Carzan, el tiburón, y los invito para que escuchen a mi buen amigo Jimmy Church Radio. ¡Claro que sí!
Oi, oi, I'm Reese Evans. You're listening to Jimmy Church. This is Revolution. The revolution will not be televised. The revolution is on radio. Ciao.
Oh, yeah. Welcome back, everybody. Fade to Black. I am your host, Jimmy Church.
KJCR on the Dark Matter Radio Network. We are live with Ann Druffel. If you have any questions for Ann, the producers will get those into me right away. Jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. That's what you need to do. Follow us on Twitter @JChurchRadio. Don't forget to also go subscribe on the YouTube channel. And we are talking with Ann Druffel. And I wanted to change gears a little bit, Ann, because we have so much that I could sit and talk about the Rex Heflin photographs all night long and sit and look at them in amazement. And they affect me that much. And I still can't.
Someday I'll show you the originals.
I would absolutely love that. And the thing is this: I remember, and I'm gonna scratch my head and think, but I was a young kid and probably 10 years old, and my parents had a set of encyclopedias. You remember those, right? You'd have Encyclopedia Britannicas in the living room. And
I still have them.
Yeah, and I wish I did, but and I was, and I remember just going to getting the U edition, opening up to UFO, and would read. But there's the Rex Heflin photograph. When people talked about UFOs, that's the photograph that is referenced. And it truly affects me. And every time I see the pictures today, I'm serious. I could talk about them all night. And the thing is, the photographs too, really, I think they stir emotions in everybody. When you look at these, you just don't know what you're looking at. And it doesn't look like anything that you would expect to see when you think about something in the air, and you look at it just doesn't make any sense. And they are crystal clear and perfect. And out of everything that's ever been, out of all those photographs, these are the ones. And I truly could talk about them all night. But
there are articles about them on my website under the articles section, under the UFO phenomena UFO article section, and one of them is the latest one by a scientist and Bob Wood and myself, and that was what we call the first first article, ever published in a scientific journal, and a scientifically oriented journal.
Right.
The other ones were in regular UFO journals.
Right.
But if they will go into my website, they can read the entire article.
And you have a great website. Yeah, the links to Ann are just click on her name right there at jimmychurchradio.com. Everybody is used to how we handle all of our guests on this show, and so the links to Ann's wonderful website are right there, and it's a lot of good reading, including what we're going to talk about next, which is Dr. James McDonald, and he, like yourself, Ann, he was one of those guys that, there's a few important researchers in ufology. You can count them on one hand. And James McDonald is one of those. And he's also, unfortunately, not somebody that we refer to today. And I find that to be a tragedy. And one of the things about this show is I want everybody to learn something. And if you walk away from this show learning something and you're glad that you spent, because everybody's time is important. And if you're going to spend time with me, I want to make sure that you walk away just like, man, wow, that was great. And the story of James McDonald is just that, isn't it?
Oh, well, you say you compare him to others in the field, including me, which James McDonald was a superior to everyone.
Exactly.
There was never anybody like him before. There has never been anybody like him since.
And why?
And that's why I wrote the book about him, Firestorm.
And when I say that in such a dramatic way, and you just said it in just the same dramatic fashion. Yes. Why is it? Just give us a little. Let's tell a little bit about his history. Of course, his importance. When I first started the show, I had Ralph McCarran on, one of my first guests. And one of the things that we talked about was James McDonald and his importance out there. And he's just got one of the most fascinating stories behind him, and he was only and I want you to correct me on this if I'm wrong, and which is okay, I usually am, but he was only out there for about 3, 4, 5 years, right?
He was publicly researching UFOs for 6 years,
right,
with NICAP.
Right.
You see. But before that, from about he saw an object in Arizona with some of his colleagues, his scientific colleagues, in around 1956. And so he became interested in what are these things, and he was doing a private research. People were, calling him at his office at the University of Tucson, telling him, University of Arizona, Tucson, that they had seen something, or something was in the sky, and he was investigating UFOs before he joined us publicly in the field in 1960. I believe it was 65.
65. Okay, so how well did you know James?
I knew him quite well, because even though he had his offices in Tucson, you see,
mm-hmm.
He was a climatologist, an atmospheric physicist, you see, and he would study all sorts of problems in the climate and meteorology, things like that, and he would go to various countries even to speak or to study a particular subject that had come up. And whenever he was anywhere near Los Angeles or even in Southern California, he would make time to meet with us in the NICAP meetings that we had, the NICAP subcommittee meetings, and we call them parties, you see. We had them about maybe once every 2 months or something like that. But when McDonald informed our director, the subcommittee head, Ida Bell Epperson, that he was going to be nearby and could he come and talk to us, she would say yes, and she'd plan this party with a great big, stuff to eat and everything. And there would be 30 people who would come to those meetings to hear McDonald, right there and interact with him. And some of these 30 people were the scientists who were active in the field, though not publicly, you see. McDonald was the only one who had gone public at that time in 1965. But we had scientists in this area who were privately in the field with our NICAP subcommittee, and also NICAP subcommittees all over the country, and in other countries too.
Well,
NICAP was in several countries.
And why? What made James McDonald so special?
It's hard to describe. He was someone who was a scientist, and when he would meet with us, you see, when he'd take the scientists aside and they'd talk in a group, they'd use scientific language, that nobody else could understand what they were saying. But then when he'd come and speak to me personally or to Ida Bell Epperson personally, he would use plain English, you see, to express the same ideas. And this is what was so enthralling about him, that he treated everybody as an equal. You didn't have to be a scientist to be interested and to contribute to the UFO research field. All you had to have was some, particular sort of skill. Like I was a sociologist and had been a social caseworker for about 4 years then. No, wait a minute.
Well, and he was.
I was 6 years in the field, and I was scientifically oriented. You see, there's a difference between being scientific and scientifically oriented. I am scientifically oriented.
His due diligence, the way that he did not want to stop with not only his research, but getting this to the public, he was completely tireless.
Completely tireless. He got the scientific community at large interested, lots of them interested in the UFO phenomenon, because he convinced them that UFOs were a scientific phenomenon that was being badly neglected by the scientific community, you see. And he gave hundreds of talks to scientific groups at conferences, at scientific conferences in other groups, and they would. It would be filled. The audience would be a full audience listening to him. Other scientists listening to him. Now, not all in the scientific community accepted what he was saying, but a lot of them did, and he was the one that changed the field into to have scientists able to express interest publicly, you see.
Yeah, how did
he not only worked with the scientific community, he worked with the private research community, like us, like NICAP.
And what about the government in Washington D.C.? Were they happy with his steadfastness?
They were not happy, shall we say that? There was a lot of criticism in the government about what he was doing. But of course, you couldn't criticize McDonald,
Right.
and get away with it. So what our hypothesis is that the government felt that he had to be shut up, you see, because we know that the government has information about UFOs that we don't know what they have. At least I'm not, accepting of some of the theories that are out there, beliefs.
Right.
What do we call it?
Of course.
So what I write in the book is the way the government very possibly got to him and into his mind through the same technology of the CIA at that time, which is described in Firestorm, my book, and because it seems to be that he was depressed, and he was found dead under a bridge in the desert outside Tucson.
And
you see, with a gun near his hand, and but it was assumed that he was depressed and shot himself. You see,
yes, and let's come back to that. Let's come back to that because I think what led up to that is the story, his tragic death and how it happened, and I'm still not convinced of the official story. I'm not, and I would love to hear directly from you how you feel about it. But let's back up for a second.
All right.
What started was the depression caused from his frustration within the UFO community? Was it caused by somebody else? Was it the government messing with him? Was it his personal life? But what started the downward spiral? You knew the man, so what started this? Because he was right in the middle of the most remarkable research of his generation, and he knew that. Yes. And he was convinced of all of this, and then suddenly things went wrong for him. What happened?
You see, I knew McDonald, and I treasured, the fact that I knew him personally, but I was not a close colleague with him like some of the scientists in the UFO field. You see,
okay,
but I spent 5 to 6 years studying the entire thing about what you're talking about. His wife, Betsy McDonald, who is a wonderful, wonderful person. She helped me during those 5 to 6 years, and she referred me to about 4 or 5 of his colleagues who were still connected with the university, with the Institute of Atmospheric Physics on the university grounds of the University of Arizona at Tucson. And that's where I got the information for this 509-page Firestorm, Dr. James E. McDonald's Fight for UFO Science. It's just a little bit that I knew personally, from knowing him. That's in the book. The research was done during 5 or 6 years in the 1990s, and the book was published in 2003.
But what caused the depression? Do you think it was it government was it was his marriage solid? What caused the downward spiral?
You see, there are the two hypotheses. Betsy McDonald was convinced that he was depressed because he would be gone, all the time almost on UFO stuff, not only his own scientific work, but UFO stuff. He wasn't home enough, and she she met this other gentleman in an organization that she belonged to, a bookstore associated with it, and she met him, and sort of linked up with him, although she still lived at home with Jim and their children. Now, she says it was the depression that he felt because of the fact that she had essentially left him for another man. Then the other hypothesis, the one that seems very real to me, is that the government caused the depression.
Well, and back then, well, now too, it really hasn't changed a whole lot, or if it's changed at all. There were reasons to psychologically affect anybody that was against the grain or against the agenda that the government needed to move forward with. And
exactly.
Yep. And there's plenty of cases, both admitted to by the government and not. That part of this story doesn't matter. But what we have here is a gentleman that was certainly causing trouble. and that's the truth.
For the government. He was causing trouble for the government.
That's right.
Yes.
And then suddenly he commits suicide. And I just find I have issues with that too as well. And how do you feel ultimately about the gun and how he was found?
I've been to the place where he was found.
Right.
And you see, all I can be is hypothetical. I can't say I believe this, or I'm convinced of this. Hypothetically, I believe that he was sent into depression by government technology, which was which we know existed at that time, and he was followed around Tucson by cars without license plates, with supporting bars in the back, which meant law enforcement cars, but without license plates. He was followed around Tucson by these people, and they would sit in front of his house. And this technology that the government had at that time, they could use it from afar into, if someone was in a house, they could use it to affect their minds. I think my main hypothesis is that is what happened.
Do you think he was in possession of, some knowledge too as well, and they found out about that? Did he ever indicate anything like that, or did he ever say, "Hey, if I die, this is really what happened"?
No. Oh, never.
Okay.
Never.
Okay.
No.
What?
What the question was?
Do you think he had knowledge of something specific about what the government did or did not know?
It seems that he might have been on the verge of getting knowledge, you see, because a couple of weeks before he died, he met with Dr. Bob Wood, who is very famous in the field, Bob Wood came to Tucson, and they had lunch, at a little place, and talk. And at that time, McDonald said to Bob Wood, I have information. I'm going to get information from the government, from a source that is totally reliable. And he didn't tell Bob Wood what the source might be or what the information might be, but he said that he's getting information about what the government knows. This is what he told Bob Wood. He's going to get information by meeting with this person in the government. And so it's possible that he had many people who were officials in the government that he worked with, and it's very possible that he did have a source, that he never told anyone what it was, you see. the thing is, he wrote journals. He wrote everything down in journals. But every once in a while, in the journals, I've transcribed the journals for them. It says, I met with so-and-so, which would be someone in the government, see small notebook. And so he had information in what he called small notebooks that was confidential that he couldn't put in the journal itself.
Have you seen that?
We have never found the notebooks.
Oh.
I have looked and looked and looked over, around Tucson for the notebooks. We have not found them yet. But I hope that someday we can find what he called the small notebooks.
Did he ever? Now you and Ralph McCarran went through all of his interviews and all of the tapes that he made too, as well. And thank goodness that he did do that. How many years did you spend transcribing and documenting and archiving all of his recordings?
I would say around 8 years.
8 years.
8 years, but totally toward writing the book, 5 or 6 years. That I would go every once in a while to Tucson and meet personally with Betsy McDonald and his colleagues at the University of Arizona in Tucson.
Did you listen to all of the tapes yourself?
No, I couldn't. There were 28 boxes of tapes about UFOs. You see,
wow,
and they were not accepted by the university when McDonald died. They accepted his climatology, his scientific work, and put them, in their library, in their scientific library. But they wouldn't accept the ones about, UFOs. No, and so they were kept by Betsy McDonald and her family in a part of her house they called it the UFO room, and and that's where the 28 boxes of tapes and other materials came from. And I was given a grant to archive those in the University of Arizona in the personal collections section in their library.
And I just have to ask, on all of those tapes, what did you hear? Is there one or two instances that just were shocking that nobody knows about? Would you share something private with us? There's nobody listening, and it's just you and I in my living room right now. Okay, so what was there something out there that you could just share with us that was special?
Well, no. You see, the tapes and the journals that I had access to and transcribed, they were all about cases that he had investigated, people who had contacted him with information about UFOs that they had seen or that they knew someone that they had seen, and those were the ones that he followed out. And these were on the we call them cassettes now, tape cassettes,
right?
And those are now in the University of Arizona in the personal collection section of the library there. But a few years ago, Ralph McCarran, we got more funding for Ralph to change the original tape cassettes into digital form, and they are now in the University of Arizona in the personal collection section in digital form.
Right, I understand. But was there any cases that were special that maybe that didn't get out to the public? That's what was there anything there? You did 8 years of archiving and transcribing. certainly there was something that just made you go, wow, this is really special. This is crazy. I didn't know about this case. I didn't know that he investigated this. There has to, what was there, Ann? I need to know.
Well, you see, in the books, in his journals where he says "See Black Book," those are the cases that we don't know about. The other ones we did know about because we were aware of everything he was doing in the field publicly, both in science and in the public field. We knew about those because even though his talks or information would not be accepted in scientific journals, he wanted to distribute them to the UFO field at large, like us.
Right.
And so he would have them, he'd have his secretary put them, type it up and, make copies, and he would distribute these copies everywhere he went.
Right.
Everywhere he went.
But when he's
and
talking...
So that's what we have, are his copies.
Sure. When he's referencing something to go see the Black Book, what were some of the names tied to that case, or what specific case was it? Is he referring to, I don't know, I'm going to pull something out of the air, Kecksburg? Was it a specific case in general? And then he says the details are in the Black Book, or am I missing something here?
He would not. These comments, see Black Book, these would be in the middle of journals, where we knew what he was doing, and then there's no indication why he put part of it in see Black Book. He never specified anything.
Okay. I guess I'm missing it, on some of the cases, a few of them, the See Black Book would be in the middle of that, and we would assume that he had information or a source that he didn't want to talk about publicly or couldn't talk about publicly about the case he was talking about. Yeah, and so that's my question. Okay, now we're getting close. Was it, can you think of a case that he was talking about, specifically that case, where then he cut short and said, see Black Book? What can what case or cases specifically was he talking about where then he cut off in the journal?
I never went into that because it wasn't plain enough. But that is an interesting. Interesting question, Jimmy. I wish I could answer you.
I just want to know.
These See Black Books comments were all about things that were so secret that he didn't want to put it in his regular journals.
So it's like the lost Ark of the Covenant, isn't it, Anne?
Yes, it is. Exactly.
We need to find those Black Book journals, and what stories they could tell. And
yes.
Okay, well let's change gears a little bit. We've got a little bit of time left. I want to get in a couple of more subjects, and it is just great to have you on with us. Again, this is Fade to Black, KJCR on the Dark Matter Radio Network. We are talking with Ann Druffel, and I'm your host, Jimmy Church. Okay, let's move on, and I want to talk about your book, How to Defend Yourself Against an Alien Abduction. And
yes.
Rather than talk about the book, well, we are, but how do you defend yourself against an alien abduction?
You see, when the alien abduction cases started to come to us just in waves in 1972, we were still we had gone over to MUFON at that time. All of a sudden, 1970, because the government had shut down NICAP. That they had destroyed NICAP essentially, and we had left NICAP and gone over to MUFON, the Mutual UFO Network.
Right.
Well, I'm sorry.
How do you defend yourself against an alien abduction?
Yes. The first case that was given to me by Ida Bell Epperson, because she'd get the cases that would come to her from MUFON and NICAP earlier. She would decide who in our subcommittee, there were about 8 or 10 of us, the researchers, who was closest to the place where it happened. And she referred me to Tahunga Canyon, where there had been 5 young women, all of whom knew each other, who were experiencing what they called encounters with alien creatures, you see. And this was started in 1972. And so she gave me the case because my home was the closest near Tahunga Canyon, which is northeast of my own place. And I spent about how many years? 8 or 9 years researching the 5 cases. I got to know all of the 5 young women. They were all wonderful young men and women, intelligent, reliable, and but 3 of them, you see, would tell me about creatures that came into their room at night, and they were able to get them to go away. You see?
Okay. Okay.
From a regular abduction, where the so-called alien or the creature comes into your bedroom or into your car on a lonely road, and you can't do anything about it. You see,
mm-hmm.
But the 3 of the 5 young women were able to fight off the creatures, to get them to go away with simple mental and physical techniques that nobody knew about at that time. And so I was intrigued, and I wrote about them in articles in all of the journals at that time, the UFO journals, and a gentleman called D. Scott Rogo, who was a noted parapsychologist, lived in Los Angeles. He was a friend of a very good friend of mine, Dr. Bert Schwartz, who lived in Florida, you see.
Mm-hmm.
And he learned about the cases that I was working on in Tahunga Canyon from Bert. And Scott Rogo had written about 30 books on various subjects of parapsychology. And so he contacted me, and he asked, would you like to write a book with me about Tahunga Canyon? And I said, sure. It was the first book I'd ever written, you see.
Right.
And so we wrote the Tahunga Canyon Context.
Well, how did they? Well, okay. I don't want to get off track here, Ann. I want to stay on track.
Okay.
How did they defend themselves? What was it specifically that they did?
Yes, there were one of them. When she saw the creatures come into her room, there were three creatures, and she was sleeping. She was sleeping in a bedroom with a friend. But the friend didn't awaken. But I didn't use the real names of these women because they didn't want me to.
Right.
I gave it. And so this woman was the kind of person who could defend herself. I mean, should we say she jumped out of bed? And she says, go away. I don't want you here. And she grabbed the neck of the creature in the middle of the three, and grabbed the neck, and the neck snapped and fell back. You see, and of course.
Wait! Stop! Right there.
Yes.
Whoa!
Uh-huh.
She killed the alien?
We don't know if she killed it. You see. But the other two were so astounded at the way this human had reacted toward them, you see, instead of being scared and doing what they wanted them to do.
Oh, gotcha.
That they actually, they were startled. They appeared startled to this witness, and they grabbed the creature with the head lying back on its back. And they disappeared through the wall, you see. Now, you don't disappear through the wall in physical space-time. It has to be some kind of an interdimensional effect.
Okay, this is fascinating.
Through a wall.
Okay. So, the first girl, 3 aliens entities are in her room. If she physically snapped the neck of the first one, and I want to come back to this first one. Right. Okay. So he did, but the two other ETs, entities, went through the wall. So, and I understand your description or your hypothesis that they're interdimensional, if that is possible for them to travel through the wall. The guy on the floor, what happened to that body?
Oh, well, the two on either side of the one where she snapped the neck dragged their companion through the wall with them.
So they took the body with them.
Disappeared, and then they never came back. You see.
Oh,
and
that night they never came back, or did they never come back ever again?
They never came back to that particular witness.
But there were 4 other girls.
Yes.
Okay.
But only 3 of them were able to fight off the creatures.
Okay. Continue. Did they come back and visit the remaining 2 girls?
Oh, well, no. This was these occurrences happened over a period of about 20 years.
That's what I'm saying. So I'm familiar with the case. I just want you to describe for everybody exactly what was going down. But you're saying that at the end, once they snapped the neck, the visitation stopped?
She snapped the neck.
Yes. Once she snapped the neck, the visitation stopped?
The visitation stopped for her. She was never bothered again. But the other, I'm trying to find my book.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't worry about it. So when you wrote How to Defend Yourself Against an Alien Abduction, is this, and I'm not making light of it, but is this part of your advice? Get physical and stand your ground?
Yes, that's one of the 9 physical and mental techniques that I learned about through, further study of abductees who were able to fight off the creatures and get them to stay away.
So you, with other abductees that you were working with at that time, this was the advice that you gave to them, and it apparently worked?
Oh, I didn't give them advice. No, that they would tell me how they fought off the creatures, you see. The Tujunga Canyon contacts was so interesting in the field that I began to wonder why could some so-called abductees fight off creatures and get them to go away and not bother them anymore, and other so-called abductees can't do that. And so I did about a 9-year study after writing to Hunger Canyon Contacts. It was republished, 1979. But then I did another, shall we say, another 10 years study of trying to find other people who claimed to be abductees who had fought off these creatures, and I found in all 71 witnesses who were able to fight off creatures. You see, fight off the creatures, and that's how I got the 9 defense techniques.
Okay,
from the other things that they had others described to me.
Okay, let's take a few minutes here and let's go through the 9 steps. You want to go from 9 to 1, or do you want to go from 1 to 9?
I had my books all piled up, and I can't find them.
Okay. Well, you know them by heart. What's number 9?
What's number 9? Could you give me just a minute to go get them?
No, and
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm sorry.
One
of them, the most powerful one, is appeal to spiritual personages. In other words, ask for help from heaven, from God, from angels, from whatever you believe in the spiritual realm that can protect you. That appeal to spiritual personages. And I use that myself.
Okay, we're starting to lose you, Ann. Are you there? I think we have lost you. I think your batteries are dead on the phone. And Ann is gone. Let me kill this. And I will take a few minutes here. I'm going to go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back right after this. Stay with us, everybody.
Hi everybody, this is Rob Halford, the Metal God on JimmyChurchRadio.com.
What's up? My name's Brian Taylor, Ninja Badass Extraordinaire, and this is JimmyChurchRadio.com.
JJCR in your face.
JimmyChurchRadio.com on the Dark Matter Radio Network.
Okay, everybody stay with us. All right, everybody stay with us. Hey, okay, I'm going to bring you on right now. You ready? Let's do it. All right. I have on the phone right now, and that before I even get into that, Ann Druffel is absolutely wonderful, and I feel in the presence of royalty when talking to Ann. But okay, now on the phone, really quick, I have Zatoichi. Zato, how are you? Are you with us? Oh, there you go. Are you with us?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that. Had to flip a couple of switches here, and let's check our levels really quick. How are you? Just go ahead and say hello really quick.
Hello.
Okay. All right, we got good levels. Okay, cool. Zatoichi, I want everybody to... we met last night at the Richard Dolan I don't even know what to call that. That was nearly a rock concert, you know.
Yeah. Lots of people.
Yeah, there was a lot of people there, and that was a really good time. I had an amazing time. And so during one of the breaks, or maybe it was after the show. After. After you came up to me and said, you've got to see these pictures. And the thing is about technology today, that you are able to have an iPad with you because you're using that probably to take pictures and so forth.
Right.
But it's like in the old days, it was a picture in your wallet that you would carry around with you. You know what I mean?
Right.
But now everybody's got an iPad, and you were able to show me these amazing photograph that you had taken. So before we get to that, I want everybody to go to jimmychurchradio.com right now. And if you go on the forums page at jimmychurchradio.com, we have the UFO landing pad right below the forum, okay? And it's right there. Now, at the top of the UFO landing pad, we have Zatoichi's pictures. And the first photograph now, and again, we're going to start going through this now. Now, these pictures, first off, haven't been published. Nobody's seen them yet. We put them up on the web. What time did we do that today, Zato? Maybe 3 hours ago? Yeah. So we just published these. These have not been seen. So go to jimmychurchradio.com, go to the forums page right now. And I'm watching the website blow up as we speak. And I want the website to fill up. As I know that everybody's looking at these pictures, then we can start to discuss them. So jimmychurchradio.com, go to the social forums page, the forums page. There you will find the UFO landing pad. Once you scroll down, at the top of the UFO landing pad, there are 4 pictures. The first picture in the left-hand corner is the photograph itself. And the thing is, Zato, Ichi, really quick, I like the way that you've labeled all of the pictures so we can see exactly what we're looking at. And the analysis from these other of the photograph are the other 3 pics that are there. If you open up picture number 1, I don't mean to talk over you, but I want everybody to just kind of line up with us so they know exactly what we're talking about. Now, if you go to picture number 1, so when and where, and I understand that there's some privacy issues involved here. Plus, these pictures haven't been seen publicly yet. This is for the first time.
Right.
When and where, and you can go as far as you want to go with this, but when and where were these pictures taken?
May 2013, Southern California.
Okay. And that's as far as you want to go, which is fine. This first picture, or the picture, I should say, what is it that we are looking at? What direction? And what were you photographing? I know what.
The cloud.
Yeah, exactly. Why were you photographing that cloud? It's kind of obvious, but
it was heart shaped. Yeah, because it was heart shaped.
Exactly.
And there weren't too many clouds in the sky that day either. That's a strange thing.
Right. So it is it's an actual heart shaped cloud. So you go and you're looking at this heart-shaped cloud. By the way, I had almost the same experience happen to me, by the way. But
oh, wow.
So, in that, photographing the sky, you know what I mean? And clouds, and then boom, something is there.
Right. In the first 2 pictures I took, it's not there.
Okay,
so it shows up in the third.
It shows up in the third. Now, I want everybody to open up the first picture. You'll see a little red arrow in the lower left-hand corner of the picture pointing at about 7 o'clock at a little disc there. Now, what did you like freak? What the heck is that?
I didn't see it until after.
No, I mean, that's what I mean.
Really,
when you saw the pic.
Yes.
What did you think?
I did. I did. It was surprising, but I mean, so was the heart-shaped cloud in itself.
Right. And everybody waits their entire life that is in this field. We always carry around cameras. We never have the opportunity. It's so rare. But then, boom! Of all things, something compelled you to shoot this heart-shaped cloud, and then this is in the picture. Is there some kind of message here?
Well, I actually think maybe so. There were other events around the same time period over the summer. That just I saw a light in the sky that basically flashed twice. So I know it wasn't a meteor. It flashed once in one spot in the sky, and then it flashed again in the exact same spot.
Oh, that's interesting.
And then there was just a slew of kind of really strange synchronicities, events that seemed, coincidences that, were very profound coincidences and meaningful.
Right. Hey, Zato, can you speak into your phone a little bit louder?
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
I was just saying there was a period of synchronicities, of basically events that happened, coincidences that were pretty extreme and had personal meaning. Things like that.
Right.
I'd seen other lights in the sky, and there was also some surveillance, I think.
Well, because you didn't see this this UFO, this craft in the picture when you took when you took it. Right. Now this is your house, this is your neighborhood. How far away do you think this was, and how large do you think it was?
I would say it's definitely larger because it's the iPad 2 camera, which is, for those of you that have it, they know it's not that great. You take a picture of the mountains or the moon or anything, it looks small. Right. So, and also the palm tree, it does look smaller. So, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 feet, 20 feet. I think it's in the distance, I'm looking right now, actually.
I'm looking at it too.
Same spot. Yeah. I'm looking right now. I'm outside looking at the sky.
Okay.
Spot. And, I would say, looking at it, it's probably a little bit higher up, maybe a little bit in the distance.
So maybe a couple of 100 feet off the ground?
Yeah.
And now when we go to picture number 2, which is you made this enlargement of the craft, and it's above. Is that your house that's there? So that's your roof line that we're looking at?
Yes.
How much of an enlargement is this? And again, what can you... I'm looking at it here, and I'm even blowing it up, and I don't know exactly really what to think. In that it doesn't look like a plane. There's no wings.
Right.
It definitely looks disc shaped. It's not a triangle.
Yes.
What are your conclusions?
Spherical.
Yeah.
I think it looks almost like spherical. Spherical disc, or maybe teardrop even.
Yeah, there is a little teardrop shape.
What really surprised me the most was what I did it on Emboss, because it's just a standard Emboss function on I think it's Art Studio on the iPad, and I also blew it up on the same program. I think that's like maybe 4 times, 5 times. I can't remember.
Yeah, when I look at the embossed image, it's definitely this is indicating something 3D was photographed.
Exactly, because you can look at the clouds, you can look at the roof and the bricks and the palm tree, and you can see the depth on them. But then you can also see depth on the object as well.
Do you have sightings around your house often, or is this something that was unique?
Well, that's what I was saying. Pretty much, I would say the activity level has gone up quite a bit since then. at different times. I mean, I have a great view of the sky, so obviously I see all kinds of aircraft and things. But like I said, in the middle of the summer, the flash from the sky, that was kind of interesting.
Have you photographed anything else?
No other photographs. No, it was completely by chance. Well, but I guess maybe not by chance since the heart-shaped cloud was there.
Have you had any others?
But it's by chance that I was walking outside, so.
Right. Did anybody else see it that day? Did you ask around and try to do your own investigation?
No. I just thought, wow, that's a heart-shaped cloud. What a cool picture.
Right. Nothing in the news. Nothing in the
initial thought.
Right. Nothing in the news. Nothing in the newspaper.
No.
Yeah, this is it's an absolutely incredible photograph. Well, I would love for you to stay in touch if there's any. I know that you have a relationship with another organization out there. But if you have anything that you want to share with us again like this, I would love to get it up. I want to get some analysis out there, especially on this photograph. Sure. And if anybody out there has anything they would like to say about it, the social forum is right there above these photographs in the UFO landing pad. And if you have any comments, these were taken when in 2013?
May.
In May. So if there's anybody out there that knows anything about that particular month in 2013 in Southern California and photographs that look anything like this, or if you have any information, please let us know and post it at the UFO landing pad. And we would love to try to get to the bottom of this. But it's just an absolutely incredible photograph.
Yeah, I would also like to encourage anybody who in Southern California that has seen anything strange or experienced anything strange to, come forward, and maybe through Jimmy I can get a hold of you as well.
Hey, while I have you on the phone, what did you think of Richard Dolan last night?
Oh, that was impressive. I mean, I've been looking forward to seeing him because I had read After Disclosure. And that was the first time I had ever seen him. And, some things that I thought were interesting were where he was talking about different factions within the breakaway group or breakaway civilization.
Right.
I thought that was kind of an interesting topic that probably should be explored more.
One of the things that we tried to do when we were putting this together, because we could have just, had him on the show. He lives in New York, and we could have just done a normal interview, or he could have just done another seminar that everybody does. But we tried to think of a way to do something a little bit different. And what did you think of that kind of format? A radio show like that live in front of such a large group of people, because there was a lot of people there last night. But was that a good way to go about it? I enjoyed it, and I thought it was really great. Do you think that everybody just got out of it what what I feel like they did?
Yeah, I think that is a great format. I would like to see even larger audiences, because it's interesting the way everybody reacted. Richard got a bit fired up towards the end, and so did everybody else. Yeah,
that part of it, well, you can't help, but also the temperature in there was a little bit, it was a little warm in there, and the lights and the cameras and stuff. But and what and my take on it for doing it is this, and I don't want to be sound like I'm like some type of ego stroke. It wasn't that. But when I've given a lot of seminars myself in the past, lots, hundreds, and there's always that same general way. You feel like you're just going through the motions. You've done this before. It's another city, another crowd. You turn on your switch and you speak, and you get through the 2 or 3 hours. You sign a couple of books, and then that's it. Everybody goes home. and that's the way that they're all done. I've been to so many this year, and and I just thought there's got to be a way to just do this a little bit different. And what if, we did it talk show style, just like the radio? We'll do the radio show on the stage, but ask questions. So that way they're not reading from a script. They're not doing a PowerPoint presentation and just going through the motions, because people like you can kind of feel. And I just thought, let's try this once and let's see how everybody agreed. One of the things is Richard does his own radio show, and which is good. Right. It's a good show. So at least he would be open to the idea because he knows what to expect. And but and I just wanted, you're the first person that's called in that was there last night. So I just had to know, was it good? Was it a good idea? And should we do it again?
Yes. It was great, and it was a great idea, and I think you should try to make it bigger somehow.
Make it bigger. Wow. Well, okay. I can't imagine. Well, when you say bigger, what do you mean? Not like in an arena, but are you saying? Are you talking about?
Well, just more. Try to get more people. It would be nice to see more younger people there.
And the crowd last night, well, I hear you there. I think that there was a pretty good mix of both because,
there was a good mix. Yeah.
Yeah. And, Richard, he represents a younger generation, and I think he speaks to the younger generation, and that was represented last night. But I do agree with you. There's got to be a way to get, kids involved in this subject. It seems like, I don't know how old you are, but you're certainly a lot younger than me. But when I was
not so much.
when I was a kid, everybody talked about it. Everybody believed that something was going on. Everybody looked to the skies, and of course, back then we were still going to the moon, and there was a lot of excitement out there on the subject. But kids, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, that's all we talked about. And today I don't know. I think not so much. And we've definitely got to keep our foot on the gas on that angle. What did you Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and I am a bit younger than you, but still, growing up in the '80s, it was, there was still, it by that time, I think it had really been absorbed into Hollywood so much that you really, that just made it so much more questionable. It just put it in the realm of fiction even more than anything.
Right.
In the '80s.
Right. Now,
it was, to us, it was just fiction because that's, the way it was fun.
Now, out of respect of privacy, I'm not going to say anything about you personally or professionally. So if I respect that, then I'm going to ask you a question because nobody knows who you are. So then I want to ask you this question, and you know exactly why I am asking it. And I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't. Okay?
Okay.
What do you think about the proliferance of phony video out there on the web? UFO videos.
I know exactly why.
Yeah,
okay. I am.
Remember, you're safe.
Opposed to it.
Well, hold on.
I am wholeheartedly opposed to it.
Exactly. Now, I just want you to understand. Nobody knows who you are. So, you know exactly why I'm asking this question, and I respect your privacy. So I'm going to say it one more time, and then I'm going to stay quiet. What do you think about the proliferance of the phony CGI bogus stuff out there? What, how do you feel personally about it?
Right. It actually upsets me because they're doing nothing but harm to those that are out there actually capturing actual phenomenon, and it harms the whole study of UFOs by putting fake UFOs on the internet, on YouTube.
And some of it.
And that's all I have to say about it. You know,
okay. Well, you're not going to get into trouble because nobody knows who you are. But I will say this.
Right.
When I and speak directly into your phone, by the way, you're getting a little relaxed. That's okay, because when you do, I have tons. You sound great, and then it just kind of fades out a little bit. But there are some of those videos that are out there, and especially, and I'm going to go back, let's say maybe 5-6 years when this phenomena really started to take off of the CGI stuff, where I was like, man, that is that is cool, you know. And I would watch it over, and I'm like, why isn't this on CNN? Why aren't people talking about this? This should be talked about. And then I started to figure it out, that it just wasn't real. And how, you know, so much of it could be directed in to one area of the internet. I'm not going to say names or anything like that, but it really bummed me out. In the end, I got brokenhearted.
Yeah. I would say it made me angry.
Are there any? This is where I'm going to ask you something more direct. Are there any of that fake stuff that's out there? Is any of it real? I mean, is one of it out of everything that gets out there on the web? I mean, it seems like, you know, is any of it real? And could you send me a video of something that, you know, that is really good?
I don't have any videos personally. As far as the ones I've seen, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And it's just going to get harder and harder as CGI gets better and better.
Yeah, and cheaper and cheaper.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so, all right.
I mean, that's kind of what enables, you know, clowns that decide to go on the internet and make a whole bunch of fake UFO videos.
You know, I posted one the other day, and I just the only way that I could respond to most of this is just draw your own conclusions. You know, it's interesting. Right. It's fun to watch, but just draw your own conclusions. Don't think that I'm posting this because I think it's the latest and the greatest of anything. You know, I can't stand behind it. But some of it is pretty fun. Somebody is spending a lot of time. I forget the title of them, but there was this one that was swinging around the net not too long ago about this alien that's waving goodbye by the spaceship as it's sitting on this hill, the flying saucer sitting on the hill, and you see this alien like a little ET guy poking around in the grass or something, turns around, looks at the camera and waves, jumps in the ship and flies away. Now, I posted that on the net, or I shared it, because I thought somebody spent a lot of time making this. It deserves, you know, it deserves to be seen for the creativity, but in no way do I think that this is an actual video, you know. Right.
Yeah, I agree. Some of them are really good. Excuse me. I saw a what was purported to be a 1970s. You might have seen it, a 1970s film of a mission to Mars.
No,
have you seen that one?
No, I have not.
Yeah, and it's kind of clear towards the end that it's, you know, that there's some CGI and there's some, you know, modern satellite photos of Mars used in the composite. But it looks really good.
What do you know? What it's do you know what it's called?
I can't remember. I'll look it up in a little bit and I'll send it to you.
Yeah, send it to me. I'm just making some notes here.
But it's really good. It's really well done. It looks like it was actually shot in the 70s. They did a good job, except for towards the end. I think that's where it sort of slips up.
I love that sort of thing. And there is one other thing before I let you go.
Sure.
There's a documentary out there. It's called The Dark Side of the Moon. And if anybody ever gets a chance to see it, you have to dig around to find it on YouTube. It has nothing to do with Pink Floyd. It's called The Dark Side of the Moon. And it is a mockumentary. You've seen Spinal Tap, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So it is the fake moon landings version of Spinal Tap. In that, Spinal Tap is a mockumentary about a rock band. This is a mockumentary about fake moon landings. Now, think about what I just said. Okay, Spinal Tap is about a mockumentary on a rock band. Well, okay, so if we faked the moon landings, this is a mockumentary on the faked moon landings involving Stanley Kubrick. And it's not only mockumentary, it's who's in it. Donald Rumsfeld himself, Henry Kissinger is in this movie. Schultz is in this movie.
When was it made?
A few years ago, and I think Madeleine Albright is in it too as well, if my memory serves. So it's everybody from the original Nixon administration, 1972 through that period, is on this. Well, listen, Zato, I've got a call coming in, so I'm going to grab this really quick, and I will talk to you soon. Shoot me that video, and I'll post it on the web. The Mars landing. Okay. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Thank you, man.
Bye.
Bye.
Okay. You're live on the air. Who's calling? You're live. We can hear you. Can you hear us? Okay. I'm wondering about the connection. If you can hear, I don't understand why you can't hear. Let's try this. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can. How's it going?
Oh, there you are. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Nice and loud. Okay. All right. Who's calling? Where are you calling from?
This is Jeff from San Jose. I was the caller. Called a few shows back about the Christmas UFO that I saw, and I was actually listening to your show tonight, and I heard about your guest that you have on now talking about the photos of the UFO that you caught.
Yeah, did you see the pictures online?
I did actually. Before the show really started, I got a quick glimpse of it. It looked like clear blue sky and that one single cloud in the sky.
Right.
And off to the corner, you see this little black disc-looking thing. And whenever your guest had actually mentioned that, he didn't see it until he actually had taken the picture, and to actually have anybody who's seen anything similar call in. And this brought to mind something that I had seen around the same time of year out in my area. And I actually saw this without the use of any kind of a camera or film. I just saw it with my plain eye, but I never took any thought to actually capture a picture of this.
Right, right. What did you see exactly?
What I saw looked very similar to what I seen in the picture. It had kind of a spherical, almost kind of an oval shape to it. And you couldn't really distinguish it as a plane because at that time of day, it was about 4 or 5 in the afternoon. About the same time of year, and it was over in San Jose. And what I had seen is that since we had a bit of an overcast day, it had like a plain white background to it with a cloud cover we had. But what seemed odd about this one is that I also noticed that the direction it was going was toward what looked like a hole had been punched through the clouds, and you could see part of it. You can see like the blue of the sky behind the cloud cover. It was just drifting.
Did you take a picture of it?
Like I said, at the time, I never thought to take any mention of it, and really, it was too far away that anything on the camera would just look too inconspicuous.
Wow. Has the sightings continued? Oh, by the way, I just want to say really quick, I've got other calls.
You're coming through like, a little echoey and like you're on a wall there, but I think I can make it through this.
Okay. No. Oh, I'm coming through echoey.
Just a little bit, but the show's had some problems tonight. But hey, that's what happens whenever it goes on live.
Yeah. I've got. I just wanted to say really quick, if you're listening to the show right now, there are calls that have been coming in. Just if the line is busy, just call back, and we'll see if we can get in a couple of more calls tonight. But you're calling from Austin. Was there a lot of how do I say this correctly? Sightings in your area? Is this something that has repeated?
It seems like it's becoming more of a common thing, and also what I had seen was. Oh, this was a couple of years ago. I was actually up in the northern part of California working as a security guard at a casino up in Ukiah. And this was during the time of the year whenever we were having a lot of meteors. And I had actually seen what had slowly coasted past the overhead of a mountain. It looked like a big old green comet with a very vibrant green tail. It seems that seems to be kind of a theme that I'm seeing lately, and it wasn't moving as fast as what you'd usually think. So, and I was the only person there, and I couldn't really get any camera footage since I was on duty.
What do you do?
Well, I could. There's not really anything I could do because it was there and then it was gone as it disappeared behind the mountains. So there's not much that I could have done.
How fast was it going?
Say again?
How fast was it going?
Oh, it was there for a good second. It wasn't something that what you see is, a little streak in the sky where it's just, and then it's gone. I mean, I could actually watch this thing for a good second as it drifted behind the mountain.
Uh-huh. And I hear this all the time. It's something that is happening. If you know what I mean, it's just something that is undeniable, and you don't attribute this to airplanes or anything that you're used to seeing up in the sky. This is something different.
Right, and I'd like to see someone attribute this to like what other people have been saying. It's like the tribute to swamp gas or anything like that. In California,
right? Well, I've said it a million times. So you can quote me again. I'm still waiting to see my first swamp gas. I haven't seen it yet. Okay, all right. I'm going to take a quick break. This is Jimmy Church on Fade to Black on Radio Network. Keep calling. 323-825-5045 is the number. The calls have been coming in. Keep them up. If it was busy, call back. We got time for a couple of more calls tonight. 323-825-5045. Shoot us an email to jimmy@jimmychurchradio.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at jchurchradio. I'll be back right after this. Stay with us.
Despite popular opinion, reading a book will not make you smarter.
But listening to Jimmy Church will on the Dark Matter Radio Network.
He's always giving it to you straight.
JimmyChurchRadio.com
On the Dark Matter Radio Network.
Your Tom, Richie, Gabby, and you're listening to JimmyChurchRadio.com.
This is KJCR at JimmyChurchRadio.com.
On the Dark Matter Radio Network.
right, everybody, welcome back. KJZR. Fade to Black. On the Dark Matter Radio Network. Sitting in for the great Art Bell while he is away, and we are waiting for his return. And it is an honor. And the thing is, and I say this all the time, and I can't get really used to it, but, you know, it allows me to have guests like Ann Druffel, and last night, you know, Richard Dolan. Tomorrow night we have on Bill and Nancy Burns. It's going to be another amazing show. And then Friday we have Clifford Stone. Next week, I think we have one of the Nicks on, Nick Redfern and Nick Pope, next week. So it's it's amazing. I was looking at the video today that was shot of the Richard Dolan show last night. I'm looking at that video and I'm like, that just can't even be real. You know, Richard Dolan, really, and it's just an honor. And anyway, so I just wanted to read a couple of emails really quick, and then I have a couple of things I need to talk about. I'm going to leave the phone lines open. We had 2 or 3 calls that came in, and the phone lines are open. So go ahead and call 323-825-5045. The phone lines are open. Yeah, I just got an email. This is from Tyler. Tyler, if you're listening, well done. I'm just going to read it. It says, "Isn't it illegal to turn off Citizens Cast in the winter?" I find that interesting as well. It's Southern California. You don't really need gas here, but to cook, you don't need it to heat your house. Okay, got a phone call coming in. Let's just grab it really quick. Let's just do this blind. Here we go. Okay, you're live on the air. Who's calling?
Am I on?
Yes, you are. You are live with Jimmy Church. Fade to Black.
Perfect, Jimmy. Hey, Jimmy, this is Duke calling from Ohio. Hey, could you give us some details on this general officer that you claim is calling you? Who is he? How do you know who he is? Let me tell you what I thought I heard you say last night.
Okay.
I thought I heard you say he was a member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Absolutely.
From the White House.
Yep.
Calling you from the White House.
Yep.
You must have one hell of a caller ID to get all that information.
No. I'll explain everything right now. It's not that part of it is not that big of a deal. And I have had in the last last night wasn't the first time this has happened or the first time that I've ever mentioned it.
You mentioned him before.
Yes. And way back, it started a couple of months ago. I'll explain it right now. I'll tell you exactly what's going on and how I know and so forth. This is what happened. During one of our broadcasts a couple of months ago on Skype, I get this request for contact information. Okay? And that's what happens with Skype. And you use Skype yourself. So, and everybody does. So, but I ignored it, and my producer was actually sitting in the hot seat in where I'm sitting right now. Okay, had come into the studio after the show. I was sitting over on the producer's side of the desk, where we have a couple of stations over there with microphones and computers that face me. Okay, you got the visual now. So I'm sitting there with an iPad, and we're talking about the show, and the producer says, "Who is," and says this person's name, and I said,
"You gave us the name before. You gave us the name before, so let's go ahead and give it now."
Well, let me finish. Let me make up my mind on that in just a second.
All right, go ahead.
Okay,
you're in charge.
Well, it's not about that, but I just want everybody to understand my position. So I said, "I don't know who that is." Well, they want your contact information. Well, go ahead. While the contact information was being exchanged, that's when the photographs popped up on Skype. And so I walked around and I looked and I went, "What the heck?" And I had the iPad in my hand, so I just Wikipedia'd this person. And at that point, I didn't know anything. And then I read it. Why would they be calling this show and asking, to exchange, contact information? Because you can call into the show without contact information. And
I just did.
Yeah, exactly. And now, when you call this show, at that time, I didn't have a Skype phone number. I only had Fade to Black 14. You can only call Skype via Skype instead of a phone number, okay? And so why would this particular person be calling Fade to Black 14? I don't care what the reasons are. I just want to know what the reason is. Okay? And now, if you...
He's a 2-star or a 3-star?
Well, I could look. I believe 4-star. I believe 4-star. Well, look, the point is really simple. The reason why I don't want to answer the call, okay, and the reason why I don't want to get this totally public is because then I open a door that I can't possibly close. And I don't necessarily need that in my life. I just don't. And that's my point.
You're losing me here. I guess I understand. Are you saying you're afraid that if you establish some sort of positive communication with this general officer, that there will be those out there who listen who wonder where your loyalties lie, why you're even talking to this guy? Are you succumbing to the dark side? I mean,
you know,
that part I don't get.
What you know, and all of everything that you, because I don't know what their agenda is. That's my point. He's not calling up to say hi, you know, what's going on. You know, it's.
You told us earlier that your father spent 32 years in the U.S. Army.
That's right.
And I thank your father for his service. He's a hell of a guy. I spent 33 years with the DOD. I'm a hell of a guy.
Right.
But what I will tell you is I don't understand why a general officer would call and I'm not demeaning your show. I mean,
yeah, no. You're absolutely right.
So what I'm telling you is, I think you're being punked, and I think that you know, you and I've had communication about people being hornswoggled and hoaxing things.
Uh-huh.
I think you're being hornswoggled. I don't know why. I agree with the folks that were on the air with you last night when you were there with Dolan.
Uh-huh.
Take the call. Let's
right. Well, you know,
I want to see who it is.
Well, see, and this is the thing. I was always the kid, and that if you know, you're out. Let's just say this: you're out cliff diving. You know, it's a 30-foot cliff. You're jumping into water, and you don't know if you want to jump or nobody wants to jump. And then they go, "Come on!" I was always the guy that jumped first. You know, if said encourage. I have a little tattoo on my right shoulder that I got when I was 15 years old. I went down with 5 of my 15-year-old friends to get our little tattoos, right? Everybody else chickened out. I was the guy that did it. So when I sit in front of an audience of 200 people like that, and they're all going, take the call, it makes me want to take the call. I get that. I really do. I want to be encouraged, but I just don't, you know, if it's a crank call, if it's
you're not sure what's behind the curtain.
You never, do you really want to open up that box when if it stays closed, then I'm safe. You know?
Okay, Jimmy, let me give you an alternative solution.
Sure.
Again, you know who this guy is. You told us who he was. I don't remember, and I've been out of the deal.
Did I actually slip it?
Did I the name anyway?
Did I let it?
But here's the thing. You know who the guy is.
Uh-huh.
Get on the phone. If he's a general officer, again, your dad was in the Army. You know how this stuff works. If this guy's a general officer, he's got an aide. He's probably got a major for an aide, or you know, call the guy, track him down. You're not going to have any trouble finding him. If he's in the Pentagon, if he's somehow connected to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, he's in the Pentagon. Call the Joint Chiefs office. Tell him you want to talk to this guy's aide. You're going to get a major. Get this major on the phone and say, hey, look, this is my name. This is my radio show. Is your boss calling me? I want a statement.
You know,
I want to know what's going on.
See, and when I hear you say it, it makes me feel okay, like I could go ahead and just do it. I swear, I'm not kidding. That's the kind of encouragement, you know, one needs in a situation like this, because I'm telling you, it's
not encouragement. It's real world experience. I've been there. I've dealt with these kind of people.
Right. And
I mean, these guys put on their pants the same way you do, your father did,
right.
all of us do.
Right.
Get the guy on the phone. If this guy is real, and frankly, I'm going to tell you, I'm skeptical. I think you're being hornswoggled, but I think you're being hoaxed. But
right.
in any event, if this guy's real, call his bluff. Get him on. Get this guy's exec or aide on the air. Probably some major lieutenant colonel. Get him on the air. Ask the question. Tell him who you are. Tell him what your show is. Say, I'm getting indications your boss is calling me. Can you confirm, deny your boss is calling me? If you deny it, then I'm from this point on, I'm assuming that the call I'm getting is a total crock of
right,
crap,
right,
and I'm ignoring it. But if your boss really wants to talk to me, let's do it out in the open, on the air. Let's do it on the record.
Okay, hold on. I've got a note here from my producer about you. Hold on. They just asked me if he's online right now. Dare him to call in. I don't know if he's listening, but if you are listening, call in. Okay, screw it. I'll take the call. I will.
Jimmy, the man's a general officer. He's in bed getting ready for a hard day tomorrow.
Why would he be calling? Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing. And you bring up a really, 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 really great point, which is he's got a staff. He has people. Why doing something like this? To me, you're gonna get caught unless there's something behind it, and that's all. Because if he's calling, if he thinks
but listen, if there is something behind it, then you are the chosen one. It's not Snorri. It's not somebody else. You have been selected as the chosen one.
Right.
I'm skeptical, not because I doubt your credibility, your credentials, or anything else.
Right.
I'm just doubting any of these people are calling anybody. Again, I worked with these guys for 30 years. These people aren't calling you. Somebody is. Somebody has an agenda. It's either somebody trying to catfish you, or there's something, or if it's somebody trying to catfish you, yeah, we all chuckle and laugh and press on.
Sure.
On the other hand, if
Speak to me.
You might have the story of the century. And we're with you. Let's press on. Let's find out. Let's get the answer. Let's not wander around in the wilderness here and wonder what's really going on. Let's go for it.
Right. And the reason why when it happened last night with Dolan, I knew that he would know this person's name. He would turn around and go, "Really?" That's why.
That's one of the things I was curious. Did Dolan know the name?
Oh, he was sitting right next to me.
No. But
absolutely. No, you know the name, sir. Okay. Okay. So it's.
I know the name. I heard you say it. I'm saying, did Dolan recognize the name?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right. Now, but this is the thing, and you raise another good point, and these are things that I've thought about. When you, and especially with the NSA today, with all of their knowledge of everything, wouldn't they know if somebody is running around on Skype with fake credentials and fake contacts and contacting with a name like that? Wouldn't they know and shut this down?
If they cared.
Huh.
If they cared,
okay,
I'd be more inclined to think they would care and be interested if General Half-Track was really calling you himself.
I know.
That's when they're going to be interested.
Now, and this is the thing, and follow me on this, and just tell me if you agree. This show, the title is Fade to Black 14 as far as Skype goes, right? Or my Skype call-in number, Fade to Black 14. It's not a porn line. It's not sports. It's not, you know what I mean? It's Fade to Black 14. And you have to, when you go and search on Skype or anything else for that matter, but specifically with Skype, you have to type in Fade to Black 14. No spaces. That is a very specific search. You know what I mean? So why connect to something like Fade to Black 14 specifically and ask to exchange contact information unless you know exactly who you're asking to exchange that information from. That's my point.
Yeah, but Jimmy, this is a two-way street. I mean, he's asking you for information, but he's also, or whoever this is that's calling you, is providing you information. Right?
Yep. I have it right here.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. This makes no sense to me. I think you're being hoaxed, and I hope I'm wrong. I hope this turns out to be General Half Track, and I hope he's going to come on and tell you everything that's going on in Camp Swampy, and we're going to find out the Beetle Bailey, the Beetle Bailey and
Right.
Zero, have got the thing out in the back,
Right.
But I'm skeptical.
Hey,
I worked in that world. For 32 years.
Right.
I briefed these guys at that level.
And what if it turned out to be something crazier? I'm going to let my imagination wander for a second. But what if it's something like he thinks he's calling his girlfriend on the side, that he's cheating on his wife, and then he goes live on the air across the United States and has to say, oh, I'm General so-and-so. I dialed the wrong number. I apologize. And then it just turns out to be something really crazy.
Jimmy, if that happens, you and I both know there's no such thing as bad publicity. Am I right?
Yeah, you're right.
If that happens, God Almighty could not have come down and levied this on you if something like that happens any better. This is a godsend for somebody like you.
Yeah.
But you and I both know. That's not going to happen. I mean, this is either somebody. You want my. I was in this world. I know how this stuff works. You want my honest to God take on what I think's happening? I think somebody is out to get this general officer. I think somebody.
Now you're on track. Now you're thinking. It's one of two things. It's exactly that where you're going, or they want to get this connection going, and they're wondering what the heck this show is about. It's either or. There's no gray area in the middle. But all I know is it's he that contacted me. Okay.
And again, I'll go back to my previous suggestion. You got a name, you got an identity, you got a title. Get on the phone, call the Pentagon, talk to the Joint Chiefs Office, tell them you want to talk to the general exec. Tell him who you are, tell him what's happening, and tell him you want a statement. Either the general is trying to contact you, in which case you want to know why and you want to talk to him. If he's not effective immediately, you are going to ignore any and all calls coming on, and you ought to come on the next night and say, okay, I talked to the public affairs people. Again, your dad was in the Army. You know who public affairs are. I talked to the public affairs people at the Pentagon.
Sure.
They tell me this is a crock of horse shit. Can I say horse shit? I guess I can.
Yeah, well, you just did.
This is a crock. This man is not for real. So from here on out, we're not going to give you the publicity you want. We're not going to give you the jollies you want to hear me pointing your name out to Richard Dolan and to live studio audiences. But from here on out, you do not exist. If you don't have the balls to come on and tell us who you are and really tell us what you want to talk about, you're clearly not General Half Track. I've established that at the Pentagon. So from here on out, you're history, pal. Thanks for your interest in national defense.
What did you do for the DOD, if I can ask?
I was an engineer and worked a lot of black programs. But that was back in the 80s and 90s. I've been out of it for a while.
Right.
And, I went to, a lot of these airplanes that people saw in the 80s and 90s, I know exactly what they are or what they were. I don't think any of them flying anymore. And it's no secret. The military's not stupid. The best way to hide something is in plain sight. We would. I listened to Dolan last night, and I really chuckled. And I don't have anything against Dolan. I think he's an honest guy. I think he's trying to earn an honest living. But I listened to Dolan talk about how he had talked to guys in the CIA or whoever he claimed he talked to.
Right.
And I can remember back in the day, one of my colleagues, and I'll not mention the colleague or the writer he spoke with, but there's a writer, and those of your listeners who are in the military aviation business, there's a writer who became very famous back in the 80s and 90s for writing books on black programs. And one of my colleagues had dinner with this guy one night and fed him the biggest crock of horse crap you could ever imagine. And we sat around the next day, him just laughing his rear end off, telling us the stuff he had fed this guy and how this gentleman, we'll see if he bites. Well, he bought. I mean, he bit. And this stuff was printed in some of his books. And we knew for a fact that the guy was, that the guy who had dinner with him, unofficially, of course, fed him with the biggest crock of crap that you could ever imagine.
Did he do it for fun, or did he do it?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Sure. I've talked to. Look, I'm a big UFO guy. I don't care about the conspiracy theories and any of that crap. I'm a UFO guy. Why? Because I know what was out there 20 years ago. And so anything that somebody tells me that they saw that's over and above or different than what I know was there, I'm fascinated. I want to know what it was.
And okay, go ahead. Before I let you go.
I mean, my interest is, I'm 60 years old. My interest is I started. Ann tonight, and God bless Ann. I felt bad for Ann, but as I listened to Ann talk tonight, the story of the guy out in California taking the pictures, I went and I still have a copy of a magazine that came out in 1967, 68, whatever year it was, that showed the pictures that guy took on the cover. But the premier picture in that article was the smoke ring.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
I've still got that. Okay.
Right.
So I was 12 years old when this happened, and I remember being fascinated by it. Okay, then I went out and got an aerospace engineering degree, worked for NASA, worked for the DoD, and I saw the official side of this, and I'd sit around and I'd say, oh yeah, okay, now I know, now I understand what that is. When I saw something that I knew or understand what it was, there was a lot of stuff I did not see or know what it is, and I still don't. So there's stuff out there. I know, without question, what a lot of the stuff people saw in the 80s and late 80s, early 90s, stuff that people are seeing now, and people saw it was over and above what I knew. I'm curious as hell. I still want to know what it was, and it's not so much that I'm a conspiracy theorist or worrying about chemtrails or any other crap. I'm an engineer. My engineering curiosity is what's getting the best of me.
When now I have to ask you directly, in all of your experience with aircraft and black projects through the 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s, were there rumors of any captured craft or backward engineering then?
Absolutely not. But Jimmy, I will tell you, people that, and this is why I always chuckle when you bring, not you, but people in the genre that you represent,
sure,
Nori and people like that, and the Burns, bring
right.
people on, and I hear these people talk about, I had a top secret clearance and I know this, blah blah blah. Again, your dad was in the military, you know about compartmentalization.
Yep.
Look, the stuff I worked on was very specific. What even though I had a very, very substantial clearance rating, would I have, if they had somebody from Zeta Reticuli, would I have known about it? Certainly not.
Right.
But I knew about the black programs, the aviation black programs. I was in the B-2. Well, at the time we called it the ATB, the Advanced Technology Bomber, long
right.
before the Advanced Technology Bomber was cool.
Right.
I knew what it was. The Have Blue, the whale, Willie the Whale.
Right.
I knew what that was before people knew what that was. I saw all this stuff. I was out at well, I won't mention facility names, but places where these aircraft were.
Right.
I saw these. then I would, and I was out in L.A. You know, I'd be out in Palmdale, and I would get up the next morning and read stories in the paper out there, and we would all have a good chuckle about it, just like we would have a chuckle when the guy fed Sweet. Did I say Sweetman? I didn't say that, did I? I say that out loud. That publisher, that writer, the guy that fed this writer the bullcrap stories. You know, we all chuckled over that stuff. We knew what it was, we knew what we had, and we knew, you know, and we were not opposed to somebody thinking it was something over and above what, you know, over and above what we were doing. Now, I have no question in my mind. I've read stories, talked to engineers, talked to fighter pilots who have chased things that did far beyond what the stuff I worked on could do. That's what fascinates me. I'm an engineer. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not anything else. I'm an engineer. I want to know how they did that stuff.
When Ben Rich, and I've literally got 1 minute left, so I'm going to make the question quick, and then I want your response. When Ben Rich said in his book, and he said it publicly, you know, we've got stuff that, you know, that we can travel to the stars with. You know, we've got, you know, we've got that. What did he mean when he said something like that?
I don't know. I mean, I can only comment on. I will only comment on stuff I know.
Right.
And of course, I won't comment on stuff I know. But I will tell you that nothing I saw was anything like that.
Right.
But I will tell you what, I saw stuff that if the average, you know, if the average citizen saw in the sky at night, it would it would raise the hackles and raise the hair on the back of their neck. All these things you hear.
Well,
you know,
yeah, well, that's true, and you're right. Well, if you think about what Have Blue must have looked like when it first flew, you know, that was a crazy looking. It looked like it shouldn't have flown, and from certain angles, it's going to look like whatever you want it to look like.
I'll tell you what. I was at a facility the first time I saw that thing fly. I mean, you know, at that time I had 15 years in the industry, aero engineering degree, blah, blah, blah. I looked at that, I'll never forget thinking, what in the hell is that?
Right. Again, when I still look at it today, it just doesn't look like anything that should have ever flown. I can't imagine guys putting pen to paper back at Lockheed and convinced that thing was going to take off the ground, because it just didn't look like a plane.
Look at the B-2. I'll never forget walking in the day I got defensively briefed on the B-2. I walked in and they showed me that, and I knew about the you know, the Northrop flying wings of the 40s.
Right.
Nothing prepared me for what I saw when I walked into that special programs office that morning, and they showed me that.
What year was that? Because I have an answer. I have a story.
1986.
Okay, 1990. 1990, I'm out in the desert. I'm getting notes from my producer. We've got literally 30 seconds. I'm going to just finish this. In 1990, I'm out in the desert in the Mojave, and nobody knew about it at that point. And it flew over the 14 freeway about 100 feet over my car. And I'm with a friend, and I swear, we pulled over and watched it. It was 100 feet off the ground. It looked like it was going to hit us, and we had no idea what we just saw.
Let me ask you a real quick question.
Okay, I'm going to listen really quick.
You didn't happen to go into a hobby shop not too far from there and talk about this, did you? Because I was in the hobby shop when that happened.
You are flipping me out. Okay, are you the general?